Welcome to Inside the Force. I'm Greg Grunberg, a.k.a. Snap Wexley.
It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Welcome back, everyone, to Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here with Casey Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
Back from another week's hiatus.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, sorry.
Busy times.
Were you out of town again last week? Is that what it was?
I was out for like
4
days.
That's right. I don't even remember anymore. Yeah. But anyway, we are back here with episode 152, talking all things Star Wars. Got some good things to catch up on. Of course, some things that you've probably been aware of, but we'll just breeze through that kind of stuff and talk about some stuff. Hopefully this just happened in the past few weeks here. All right, so getting right into it. What we got for the news side?
Well, for movies for episode 8, they're in post, and John Williams will be scoring it. Hopefully that wasn't a surprise, but we're all kind of wondering if he's going to keep doing the saga films. Thankfully, he's able to do episode 8.
That's
so
right.
Hopefully he'll be around for as long as he can. But he is doing episode 8, which is fantastic to know. And 8 is in post-production. So they're editing it. Who knows when we'll get a trailer? I don't know. Maybe not until after Rogue One.
Do we know who's scoring Rogue One?
I don't know that. I was actually just thinking about that the other day. Let me see if I can find that real quick. It's not John Williams.
It's not John Williams. So the first movie is not the first movie that John Williams is not scoring.
Yeah,
of Star Wars.
Strange.
Is it Alexandra Desplat? That's kind of what I'm seeing.
It could very well be someone like that.
Yeah.
But let me find out for us
Anyway.
real quick. But speaking of Rogue One, I mean that's kind of most of the news, of course, coming out these weeks now, or is about Rogue One. Although not a whole lot, really.
No.
I'm just trying to go through here. I mean, kind of like what I have. There's been, I guess it's some speculation in a way. Well, we've seen some screenshots of the film and from a sizzle reel of these Death Troopers walking through some kind of tundra-looking place with these moisture evaporators and all that stuff. And some people have been making connections to it. And I kind of read this article today. It seemed pretty interesting. But about there being flashback scenes probably in Rogue One. Have you heard this? Read this?
No, I don't think so.
Well, there's some stuff in the sizzle. I don't know if it's from the original sizzle or from the alternate sizzle they aired on ABC, because there was like a slightly altered version of the sizzle reel on ABC, or if it was from the trailer. I can't remember honestly. But there was a shot of of Galen Erso and his like kind of weathered looking wardrobe on like then some kind of hill, mountain, whatever. Looks very like disheveled, and then there's shots of Death Troopers in that same location, burning moisture evaporators and kind of looking around. But there's also a shot of what appears to be a young girl, like a little kid almost, dressed like Jyn Erso kind of dresses, like running through, like almost like she's escaping something, like running through this kind of environment. And so people are putting all these different shots together and thinking like, well, maybe we'll see a flashback scene of the moment where Galen and Jyn Erso split off. And the Death Troopers, I guess, like take Galen Erso, they capture him or whatever, and then there's been 15 years have passed, and then we pick up to Jyn Erso in the current story. But I just thought that was interesting because it's like basically.
So are they saying like he built this thing out of, like he was forced to build this thing? Or
maybe
something
he
like
had captured for his mind, like here you're gonna make this or something like that. Maybe, who knows?
Because it begs the question that because we saw the Death Star plans
Yes.
in episode 2
Yes.
with the Geonosians.
Maybe Galen just holds the key factor to making it all work.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Because if he's that character that, like that Oppenheimer character that creates the Death Star but then realizes, like, oh my gosh, what have I done, kind of a thing, then maybe he's the one that makes a connection with the kyber crystals.
Yeah, I was just about to say, maybe
laser.
he knows how to make it a weapon.
Yeah.
Instead of just a battle station
Yeah.
almost. I mean, to be able to blow up a planet.
Exactly. So, I mean, that would be very crazy. And, but, it sounds like if these people are correct, which it seems like they are, we will be getting a straight up flashback scene in a Star Wars movie. Not a Force back, whatever they call it in that movie, but in Force Awakens. Either it's just a prologue kind of thing. Maybe these scenes happen early on in the, like the first scenes of the movie are these kind of scenes of her as a kid, and then just flash forwards, you know?
That's true.
So it could be that or straight up flashback. So I'm interested to see that. I mean, it's just
or she's dreaming.
Yeah, I mean, just be prepared. Like this is going to be a different Star Wars movie.
Absolutely.
No,
and
episode 8 probably will be too. But thought that was interesting, very cool, and just there hasn't been any really new footage a whole lot coming out. There's screenshots. There's the Empire magazine covers, this and that. But there's also an alternate international trailer that was released.
Yes. Yeah.
Not too much.
The shots are kind of different in different order almost. There's a new line.
Yes. That's the biggest
change.
Yeah, some cool
addition.
Yeah.
Which is they were sent a message from her father.
Yes, they intercepted a transmission sent by her father. Or
yes.
Something like that. And so maybe might still be captured, working on the Death Star.
But that's the question. Is he part of the
that is like the
Navy, or is he actually?
I don't know, the unknown.
A rebel forced to be, or I don't think he was a rebel. Maybe he's just a scientist.
So. Yeah,
I don't know, because where did I hear the comparison that maybe it's like one of those things where it's he thought of this thing and built this thing, and then at one point he was like, "Oh, dang, I probably shouldn't have done this."
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. Then he's trying to defect or something like that, or let the rebels know that
he maybe built a prototype or built designed the plans for it or whatever.
Yeah,
and somehow it got out. Yeah.
Possibly, or something like that.
There's
I don't know if his
that.
intent is to.
No, that's not, and that's kind of the comparison that they are making is that this guy has this knowledge and he has the skill set, but then if Empire forces him to use it, I guess, for something evil or something. So that is like really the biggest I think unknown about the movie is how it fits into, which is that is interesting to see how that all plays out.
Right.
Not too much longer.
No.
Not too much longer, people.
I know. It's is it almost 100 days? Oh, what is that countdown?
4 months?
4 months?
Less than 4 months.
I think someone I was looking
110 days.
Is it 110?
Yeah. 18 hours, 43 minutes, 40 seconds.
Wow. Crazy.
At the point we're recording this.
Is that online? Is that the countdown?
I'm looking on Star Wars News Net's
yes,
countdown.
That's right. Okay.
Nothing on the Han Solo front. Still, I guess. Well, okay, we haven't. This has happened since we've had the show, but they've. I don't think we talked about this. The casting. They're going to cast a young Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, I think we mentioned.
We
mentioned that.
But there's still nothing.
But there's rumors that it's probably Danny Glover or Donald Glover.
I think that's the fan favorite. And that's kind of the rumor that's the first choice.
Yeah.
Which I guess I don't know. I just haven't seen him enough to make an assessment, so I can't make an assessment.
Very true.
But it's just we say it every time. It all rides on when it takes place. It's really if I can get behind it or not.
Yeah, it's funny. It's happening more and more. But my office at work has a bunch of Star Wars stuff in it, and just people that we've clients or vendors or people that come in, just I mean, they're like, man, that stuff's awesome. And then we just start talking. So I had a guy in there this week talking about our security and blah 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 blah, and all of a sudden he's like, man, I can't wait for Rogue One. I was like, yes, I can't either. And we just started talking, and he's a little younger. No, I think he's a little older than me. So he saw the original Star Wars in '77 in the theater, and his kids are about Sam. He's got a 6-year-old like Sam, and he's like all over they're watching Rebels together. He's watching,
That's awesome.
And he was a fan of the prequels. You know, he's like,
cool.
It's just like Star Wars is awesome, man. Yeah. In fact, well, anyway, yeah. So that's a whole different story. But but he mentioned he didn't really. The thing about it is like, it's funny how you have some people that are fans from the beginning, but it's funny because they still somewhat lack. They don't really follow the news a lot, right? They know that a Rogue One movie's coming out, but we start talking about it, and he was kind of unclear about
what
was going on, you know, and I mean he knew it was about the Death Star plans, but but in depth like the name Jyn Erso and all this stuff, and actually I told him. Maybe he's still listening. I gave him the link. I was like, "You gotta listen to our podcast, man. You get all the news and everything." So he might be listening now. But it's funny. And then, it's just funny how so many people that are Star Wars fans, but that I come across, and I'm like, "Did you hear about this?" And then they're like, "No." I'm like, God, I thought everybody's like reading the news, or watching something or listening to a show or something, that they're up to speed on when Rebels is premiering again, when what's happening in Rogue One, and all the rumors and all that stuff, but that's I guess why we have shows like ours, so all this stuff. But it's just it's just incredible conversation pieces, like when people see that they're like, especially now, with all that's happening. So I guess nothing on the TV side. Rebels is premiering here in September 24th. Right? Yeah. So no other. I mean, we got enough from Comic-Con or the Celebration and about what's coming in the season, which is Thrawn and more grown up Ezra and more Sabine. It seems like so. I can't wait for that to start up again. I mean, the fall TV season is upon us here soon,
right? With
all the stuff that's coming.
I don't think we talked about this, but the Battlefront. You were the Battlefront VR.
Oh, I remember one thing that we were talking about. This guy
go ahead.
Mainly was he did say he's like, so did you hear about this Han Solo movie coming out? And I was like, yes. And I said, and that's how I got on topic of the podcast, because I was like, yeah, me and my co-host Casey is like, I was like, we have said that if they're gonna do it, we prefer them to use to digitally create Han Solo's face or Harrison Ford's face. Yeah, he's like, man, I'm on board with that too. He's like, I don't think I want to see anybody else either. Yeah. So that's actually a really good idea. But he's not on board with it really.
Yeah, it's just a waiting game.
Anyway, go ahead.
But the Battlefront VR X-Wing game, this has kind of been known for a little while now that there's like a VR X-Wing mission Battlefront game going up, but it's kind of been released within the last few weeks, but or I guess a couple of weeks, that this VR mission, separate little mission game for Battlefront is going to be set during the Rogue One time period. So we're going to be getting 2 Rogue One.
Which one?
It's like, I don't know if
the VR, the
VR with the X-Wing.
Death Star VR?
No. Well, I guess there's a Death Star in it, but it's this, I'll kind of play the clip for you here, but there's like a little brief, less than a minute trailer of this VR game, and it's like take it from someone's phone. But basically, you're inside of an X-wing cockpit.
Yeah, they revealed that at where did they reveal that at Celebration? I thought. Oh, E3. That's right, E3.
But recently, though, they announced.
Oh, they're doing
that this takes place during Rogue
One.
Yeah, this is a Rogue One game.
Wow.
Well, at least it's in a time frame.
Yeah. But that's only on PlayStation, I think.
I think so. Yeah. But,
which we got Xboxes.
True.
Stupid.
Rethink it. Yeah. PS4. Yeah. So, but that's still pretty cool. So we get 2 Rogue One. We get the Rogue One Scarif Battlefront.
How can they not?
Thing?
I guess Xbox just doesn't have a VR system. That's probably why.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Microsoft, come on. Other than that, in the news, Rebels Season 2 Blu-ray
is out,
DVD is
coming out.
Next week, August 30th.
Oh, yeah.
Blu-ray DVD. Supposed to have some cool featurettes on it. There's a clip released talking about the battle between Vader and Ahsoka. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see what that is about. Very, very cool. Should be coming on Netflix too then, if it's coming on Blu-ray.
Should.
Hopefully.
No. I think Netflix is always 30 days later.
Oh.
Than the once it releases.
Right.
Yeah, they never. It will eventually be on Netflix. So on the, I do want to talk about a couple things on the Star Wars show.
Yeah.
That they released. We missed last week's when Kevin Smith was on it.
Right.
He was touring, I guess, Lucasfilm and talking about I know why he said he was there. He was there interviewing Dave Filoni for his show, Geeking Out.
Right.
Which that hasn't aired yet with his interview, but it was interesting to hear. They obviously, when they interview these people, they dive into why they're fans and how they got into the fandom. But what's interesting about Kevin Smith was, so he talks about it, which is great, but then they released an extra clip of his interview, I think a day or two later. And they were talking about the prequels. Because Kevin, I listen to Kevin a lot, and he has wavered.
Yeah.
Back and forth on the prequels a lot.
Yeah.
He was on board with them, blah, 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 and then he's, then there was a time where, because I was listening to him on his podcast, and there was a time when he started wavering, and especially around episode 7, that he started thinking, man, maybe the prequels aren't that good, But then he said, it was interesting, he said he did the interview with Filoni, and they talked about the prequels, and because he said he's a really big fan of Filoni's because Filoni is a fan himself. Because he was saying too, he's like, Dave Filoni, like that could have been anybody that grew up watching Star Wars, because that's what he did. He's just a fan. It's like he because he talked about how Filoni was like, he always just is surprised every day that he's actually working there and working on Star Wars. And so he talks about how he asked him about the prequels, and he said Filoni gave Kevin a completely different view of the prequels that Kevin had never thought about.
Right.
He mentioned how it was in his mind and his interpretation. It was completely about the failure of the Jedi and how they could not figure out who the threat was and where it was coming from and what to do, because they were blinded, obviously, right? And that's a kind of a theme that's entered. And then when you get to the original trilogy, it's Luke and Leia and Han and this group that figure it out how to fight the Sith and fight the dark side. And so in the video, Kevin's like, that made me I want to go back home and rewatch the prequels because it's a whole different view. I didn't even thought of it. I'm on board. I'm on board. It's like, okay, whatever. Yeah. But I like Kevin a lot, and he's a true Star Wars fan. In fact, I would not be surprised if somehow he does something in Star Wars. I really do think he will, because it seems like he's getting he's still doing his little movies, independent movies, and true fans will watch them, but they don't do that well. They're low budget and they make money, but not huge. But he's getting more into TV. He had directed an episode of Flash. He's about to direct an episode of Supergirl this season. Probably another. I think he's got another episode of The Flash too. So he's making his rounds doing TV, and I really think if there's ever a live action TV show, Star Wars, I really think he'll do some episodes of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what do you think about that view that Filoni's talking about? Because I never heard Filoni say that before, really.
No, I haven't heard him say that, and I mean, I've just never. I don't know. I feel like I might have had that element of the prequels in my mind, but I've never had that as like a focus of the prequels. Like that's what it's about. And so I always like hearing people's perspectives on that and point of views on how you should watch these movies. We already have that with Force Awakens. Like you should watch it as if Rey's the chosen one or whatever. Like you should watch originals as if whatever. So I like that because I like the theme, and actually just had a little brief conversation with actually a former student of mine who just kind of said that he understands the originals in a different way, where it's like the originals are literally the whole time it's like the return of the Jedi. It's like the Jedi are coming back from nothing. So if you said like, well, that's interesting because if you couple that with the prequels, it's like the prequels, it's all about the fall of the Jedi, and this is about the return of the Jedi. So like it really makes complete, total, utter sense.
That's exactly right.
And if you just watch so now if I go back and watch the prequels, I'm going to watch the prequels like that, like it's the fall of the Jedi. I'm going to watch the originals like it's the return of the Jedi. Yeah. It's like this journey. It's like Anakin destroying the Jedi, and it's Luke bringing them back, and with Anakin as well, but with Darth Vader. But it's I love that. It's you'll still get people who will fight against that theory, but it's whatever, man. It's
and it kind of goes back to, and I think we hit on it a lot a few episodes back when we talked about we talked about a YouTube guy that video that how he wanted the prequels to go. I think you sent me those links of the guy that was like trying to recreate the story and what it should be. And you remember we talked about how we were thinking. I thought I was like, I think the more and more I watch it, it's the whole trilogy. The whole prequels is about Obi-Wan more than
like
Anakin.
That perspective is very interesting to me too.
And it's almost his failure. That he couldn't keep Anakin on the light side.
Right.
And he even says it. He's like, I failed you. I mean, he even says it, and he's and you can even, what's so crazy is you can even see it a little bit, even though Alec Guinness didn't even really know, but you can even see it in his mind when he talks about it, that he failed his pupil, his Padawan, his apprentice,
killed by Vader.
I mean, he, so, I mean, he's like, because even in Return, he's like, I took it upon myself, but I couldn't do it. He's like he couldn't do it. And so, overall, I think it's like maybe it wasn't his complete failure, but it is Anakin that falls, but I think it's Obi-Wan's journey through the prequels that you see, because he's the one doing a lot of the investigating, trying to put the clues together and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden it's too late. He's turned and the Jedi destroyed. So and you're right. I think it's his It's also his redemption a little bit of, well, I can't save the Order. I'll help Luke save the Order. So that's it's incredible.
Just think if they whomever had the chance to either reshoot or change the dialogue of Vader and Obi-Wan's fight in A New Hope. Like, would they add in more, now that the prequels have come out, would they add in more context of how they last met, which they did a bit, but more so, we're like, I thought you were dead, or this and that. It's just Yeah, that would be. That'd be cool to see how they would change what they did to add that emotional impact in there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I need to watch him. I need to watch him
I
again.
But then you moved to the next episode because I actually did watch. I actually remembered I did watch this last Star Wars show, and they had Trevor Noah on there, the host of the Daily Show. Now he grew up with the prequels. Mm-hmm. He actually saw the prequels before he saw all the originals.
How old is he?
He's not that old,
Trevor
I don't think.
Noah. Let's see.
Because I think
He's 32.
32. So he's okay.
Still surprising.
Here's what he said though.
He's from,
Andy, I think Andy was the one interviewing him, and she asked him, "Why didn't you watch the original Star Wars?" And he said, "You know what he said? He said the reason I didn't watch it because I thought they were just old movies.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to watch. I thought it was going to look fake.
Yeah."
So he never watched them. he said him and his buddies played with toys and stuff like that, but he just never watched it. So he said when he watched the prequels, he was like, "Oh my god, he said episode 1 was the greatest movie he had ever seen." And he loved Jar Jar.
Yeah.
He even says it. I love Jar Jar.
Yeah.
I think Jar Jar was hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, I thought
cool. He would have been like 15
watching episode 1.
Yeah.
So you listen, and then he said, then after he watched that, then people were like, "Why? What? You haven't seen the original?" He's like, "No." He said he went back and watched the originals, and then he thought it was awesome, and he fell in love with it. But he said, "I loved the prequels." You know,
great.
Yeah,
it's a success story.
I mean, look, there's people. I think really it's my generation. I guess a little older than him.
Yeah,
my age. They're the ones that are really critical of the prequels, obviously. I think anybody younger, I mean, obviously you can see the box office. No one hated the prequels. I mean, even the people that bitched about it that I grew up with, they still paid and went and saw it multiple times.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's yes, is there stuff in there, and we keep saying there's just stuff in there that probably could have made it better and all this, blah, 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 or maybe he should have handed it over to someone else to direct, blah, 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 whatever. But either way, they're there. There's different ways to view it. And I think you mentioned this many times, but I think ultimately the Jar Jar thing just clouded so much of it.
It's like a domino snowball effect. It's just like,
right.
Jar Jar, what? And they're like, oh, so, okay, oh gosh, that's a kid. Oh, now it's a battle with this keeps getting worse and worse. So it's like,
and then they had to think of something for the next two. Yeah, so they were like, well, Hayden just can't
act. He's just a whiny teenager.
Oh, I know, right? But the story is so freaking awesome. Yeah. You know? So anyway, we've beat that to death. And we will probably continue to beat it to death. Yeah. So those were pretty interesting interviews. Go check those out. Those actually were really good. So just real quick on the comic side, there's a little solicit out. I know I don't mention this too often. I should do it more. There's a solicit out for comics coming out in November. Of course, Poe Dameron number 8 and Force Awakens number 6, Star Wars 25. But one thing I wanted to point out because I was interested in this. So you know, when the whole Marvel thing happened, they we mentioned this a long time ago, but they wrapped they collected the original 77 series. Now, technically, the 77 series of Marvel Comics is non-canon, right? It's Legends, but they did collect the parts that are from the movie. So, so issues 1 through 6, which is episode 4, they actually collected those and canonized those. So, and they released, and then they, at some point, I don't know the issue numbers, but then they collected Empire, and then they collected Return of the Jedi, right? 4, 5, and 6, and they made a graphic novel out of it, and they actually updated the art a little bit. They just kind of recolored it a little bit. But they only released them in hardcovers, and I'm not really a fan of hardcover trade paperbacks. Personally, I like the soft paperback.
Yeah, I do
right?
too. Yeah.
Yeah, not I. Some of them I've bought because I had to. I think that I've only found them in hardcovers, but not the Star Wars ones. And I was hoping, which now I can tell you that. So Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope in November. That collection is coming in a paperback form now, not a hardcover. So right now you can only get them in hardcovers, and usually that's what they do with some kind of high profile books. I'll say, you know? Most of them come out in just paperbacks.
Yeah.
But sometimes if it's a graphic novel that's not part of a collection or something like that, it usually comes as a hardcover first. Because I don't even know why they want to tout it as a book somehow or something. Or if it's a bigger collection, they usually do a hardcover. But usually, if it's 5 or 6 issues, they'll use a soft cover, trade paperback. Which most of all the Star Wars ones right now, all the latest Star Wars ones like Star Wars and Leia and Han and Kanan and Lando, they all have been coming out as paperbacks. So anyway. I'm looking for that because I'm going to buy that and put it on my shelf because I like the paperback stuff. I like my novels, obviously. See, it's a difference. I like my novels hardcovers, not paperbacks.
I like it. I mean, it looks better, but like the practicality of reading it, I like paperback better.
Very true.
Smaller, can
hence
open
why I don't read novels that much. Anyway, but they look better on the shelf, right?
Yeah, they definitely do.
Yeah, more than likely, I'll eventually just get all the audiobooks of these so I can just listen to someone else reading it to me.
Yeah, I won't do it. You read it. Just read it to me.
That's what I need to do. But I would, in all honesty, because I buy, as you can see, you can't see because you're listening to us, but if anybody was sitting here, you can see that my shelf is littered with every novel, right? Every canon novel.
Yeah.
I buy them right when they come out, but I haven't been able to, I don't have the time really to read them. And I'm not a fast reader, and blah 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 blah. So, I remember when A New Dawn came out, and I was like, man, I'm going to get the audiobook. But the audiobooks are more expensive than the dang novels.
They are. Yeah,
that audiobook was like $35 or something like that. I'm like,
it's an audio file.
Can I just rent it? For like a few days?
Yeah,
because that's just crazy. And you can't. I mean, that's it. You buy them from Amazon or something like that, and and I was like, it's
unless you do like an Audible subscription, one of those
that's very true, and I
that.
can't remember what that cost is, but I might have to do that. But anyway, I thought it'd be cool to tell everybody and for that paperback if you're looking for that collection of the old because I'm assuming soon to follow will be Empire and Jedi. If you're worried about that, because I was about to actually pull the trigger and buy the hardcovers because I thought, man, they're never going to come out in soft covers.
Yeah,
and maybe I will. I was thinking maybe the hardcovers look better on that, but I want to read it though. You know what I mean? I want to read it, and I like reading the soft covers better.
The pages, the covers.
So yeah.
Wow.
What else?
Action figures. The new wave of the Black Series.
Oh yes,
figures. They're doing Rogue One now.
Yes, I saw the Comic-Con Jyn Erso.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
You saw that? Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Pretty nice. But they're releasing, and it's funny, on the box, I think, it says Sergeant Jyn Erso.
Oh, really?
I don't know if this is the same box that we saw, but
no, that one just said Jyn Erso. The Comic-Con
these are like the 6-inch figures, so they must not be the Comic-Con.
That's right. Well, not. I think it was, but that was an exclusive one. So
gotcha.
That's the actual
retail
line.
box.
Yeah.
It says Sergeant Jyn Erso, and in parentheses it says Jeddah, so it's like her Jeddah outfit, I guess. You're also going to get next Captain Cassian Andor figure, and in parentheses it's and this is a new planet. If you guys didn't know this already, Edu planet, where he wears like the big winter jacket and the hood.
Oh,
that's his EADU EADU outfit.
Yeah, where he's shooting the troopers over there. Yeah.
So maybe there's another planet they go to, and where they wear that at the more winter outfits. Who knows? K2SO is next one, and the fourth one in this wave is Imperial Death Trooper. So 4 figures so far of the new wave of the Black Series. Black Series figures. Cool toys.
Yeah, there's also they released. I'm looking at some pictures of the 2-pack figures that are coming out for Rogue One as well. They did those with Episode 7.
Yeah.
So I've got the 2-pack with Snap
Snap
Wexy. So okay. Other than that, that's. I do want to talk about one thing, but I want to save that kind of for after we do the canon stuff real quick. But
so you'll have to wait.
Yeah, we'll have to wait.
People. So canon stuff. Here we go. It's been a while, people. Thought we might have forgotten. But we
ain't forgot.
But this is a brief little profile today, and the book by DK Publishing, Ultimate Star Wars: Characters, Creatures, Locations, Technology, Vehicles, which will need to be drastically updated after this December. So today's profile is Captain Tarpals. Yes, that's right. Some may say the second worst Gungan, or the second best Gungan. Who knows? Captain Tarpals is the Gungan, the captain from in the Gungan army in Episode 1. He appears in Episode 1, but also he appears in Clone Wars. He is a Gungan. His homeworld is Naboo. His affiliation is the Gungan Grand Army. Now, a few weeks ago, about a month ago, I guess, profiled the Kadu, which are those creatures that the Gungans ride when they're in battle. So Captain Tarpals is the Kadu patrol chief in Otogunga. He watches out for thieves and dangerous other things, that could threaten the underwater city. So he must have been one of the ones that alerted on the separatists coming down. Or I don't know if they're necessarily called separatists. The Federation, the Trade Federation. And then it just talks about some stuff about Jar Jar and all this kind of stuff. But also references the Clone Wars, his Clone Wars episodes, if you guys didn't watch that. In Clone Wars, he subdues and helps capture General Grievous on Naboo, but at the cost of his own life. Which, it's been a long time, so I don't quite recall those episodes.
Yeah, I don't either.
However, Captain Tarpals dies in the Clone Wars trying to capture General Grievous.
I don't remember.
I feel like I would have remembered that, but apparently I forgot.
Yeah,
sad. He was a cool guy. I didn't mind him at all.
I've been actually really wanting to go back and watch all the Clone Wars
watch
again.
all of it.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
I started for a little bit.
Watch them in order.
Yeah,
that's
in
crazy.
order, in a chronological, different order.
Starts off rickety, but then
it catches up and just goes. Yeah, but it does make sense.
Absolutely.
I don't know why they did it like that, but it does make sense.
Yeah. So that's Captain Tarpals of the Gungan Grand Army. Otogunga.
So I'll just do a real quick one and leading into our last little subject here and this is from obviously Everything You Need to Know Star Wars book. But we're going to talk a little bit about the passing of Kenny Baker, which we haven't done. So I'll do a little in honor of him, a little Artoo here thing, which is the top 5 astromech accessories.
Okay.
You probably know most of these because they all showed up in the movie. But the number 5, drink dispenser to serve guests at parties. Number 4, a buzz saw to cut through almost anything. Number 3, rocket boosters for flying through the air. 2, electromagnetic power charge arm, also handy for zapping Ewoks. And the number 1 astromech accessory, the lightsaber launcher.
Oh, yes.
For top secret missions. So every one of those things we saw in the movies.
Yeah.
Of course, R2-D2 is best known for what?
What is R2-D2 best known for?
Best known for.
Like, as in doing this one thing?
Yes.
Hacking into terminals?
No, one specific event.
Oh, what is he best known for? Hyperdrive
Very
on the
first thing.
On the hyperdrive on the Naboo starfighter?
Yes. Saving Queen Amidala's starship. Yes. And why is he so hard to understand? Of course, he talks in binary, a language of beeps and whistles.
0100.
C-3PO often has to translate to help everyone else understand what he's saying. Although everybody else seems to understand what he's saying.
Luke knows.
Yeah, exactly. Luke talks to him all the time.
Whatever Anakin fight.
Yeah, so unfortunately, a couple days after our last show 2 weeks ago, I think it was on a Saturday. I think it was on a Saturday because I was sitting on the couch, and all of a sudden I started seeing tweets that Kenny Baker had passed, and it was strange because I think I'd seen Kenny a few times when we were at Celebration. I don't think he had a panel we were in or anything, but I remember he came on stage a couple times for some things there. We saw him around, saw him at his booth. He was signing autographs and stuff, and
he wasn't in good health at all last time I saw him.
Correct. Yeah, very true. And he's been struggling and made it to 81. I think is 81 years young, and but it was funny because I was reading these tweets from like Mark Hamill and Ewan McGregor. They were sending their thoughts and prayers out, and I thought, I'll tweet something out from us, and I wrote something from Inside the Force about a picture of him and sitting next to the droid, and said something like, "You'll always be the droid we're looking for," kind of thing.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was writing that, and I really started tearing up.
It's sad, man.
I mean, I was because
Artoo.
Well, but he's the first kind of passing of the main cast.
Yeah, from the originals.
Because unfortunately, as we get older, that's going to happen.
Yeah,
and we're going to start losing these guys. Mm-hmm. But if you really think about it, 77, nearly 40 years ago, right? We're going to be celebrating the 40th. Holy crap, I didn't even realize that. It's going to be the 40th anniversary at Celebration next year, right? Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yep.
Wow.
It's 2017.
So, yeah, because I went to the 30th when it was in, we went to the 30th. No, you didn't go to the 30th. No. 30th was in LA, 2007. So anyway, but you think about it, almost 40 years, and we had just now lost one, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Especially, the fact that Hamill was in almost a serious accident.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them.
Carrie's had some problems, exactly. And
Peter Mayhew's had some health issues as well.
Yes,
still does.
Anthony Daniels is still kicking
Harrison
around.
Ford, bless his heart.
Harrison Ford, I know.
So many.
Then he broke his ankle during episode 7.
Back in a plane crash.
Yeah. Ugh. But even George is still around. Yeah. John Williams is still around. Mm-hmm. Even a lot of the artists you see him at Celebration still. Doug Chang and John Knoll and guys that worked on these. Isn't Ben Burtt still around? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dennis Muren's still around. I mean, these guys are worked. I mean, it's 40 years later, and it's still that core guys that are still around. So it's going to be. I'm sure we've lost some.
We have,
but you want to talk
Christopher
about
Lee,
right? Christopher Lee,
some other actors.
There was somebody from the originals that I thought.
Dak. Was it Dak? No, it wasn't.
No, I think he's still around.
Yeah, he is. But
well, Peter Cushing's obviously.
Peter Cushing
and Al Guinness.
Porkins
and Jet Porkins. I mean, guys, I mean, obviously, okay, I say that wrong. I mean,
well, the original, you're talking about the main characters.
The main young ones.
Yeah, the main characters.
Out of Han,
Leia,
Luke, R2, C-3PO, Chewbacca, basically, exactly. Right? So, yeah, we definitely lost Alec a while ago and Peter Cushing, but yeah, that hit me. That hit it home a little bit because that was you didn't really fall in love with Obi-Wan and fall in love with Peter Tarkin. You fell in love with the droids because the original 3 was because I will always remember George's interview too in '97 before the special editions came out that the original trilogy see in his view we just talked about how it's the Return of the Jedi, but his intent, if you think about it, that whole trilogy is told through the eyes of the droids because they're involved in everything. Yeah. Unlike the prequels, they're not around as much,
right? But
they're in every part of that of 4, 5, and 6. And yeah, I just went, you know, and it was funny because I teared up a little bit, and I was thinking, I'm just hanging around in here. I'm just gonna put in episode 4 and just play it, you know. So I don't know if you wanted to say anything about it.
I mean, yeah, I tweeted it out there. Just, you know, he made memorable impacts in millions of people's lives, and how and like watching interviews about how he brought Artoo to life, and how he owned it. He completely owned it, just like Anthony Daniels did with C-3PO. You know, he owns that role, and it would not have been the same, you know, without him, because people, even to this day, some people sometimes don't realize that there was a person inside of R2-D2.
I know.
You know, it's like, yeah, there was. It's Kenny Baker, and like it would not have been the same at all if Kenny Baker was not inside of R2-D2. Like, you know, he made it, and he always loved it. You know, he was 81 years old, still going, or younger than that, I guess 80 or so, going to Celebration, going to these conventions, because he was one of those, you know, actors that completely owned the role and owned the franchise.
Now, unfortunately, he was not in episode 7.
No.
By then, it was just a remote control.
R2's only one scene.
But he did the prequels.
Yeah.
He was there for the prequels. And we obviously he's not going to be a Rogue One, but we keep wondering if R2 is going to be in Rogue One.
True.
But I do think, obviously, we'll get some kind of thing at the end of Rogue One.
Sure.
You know, how they, for Kenny Baker, or they'll show Kenny Baker. But yeah, I just wanted we didn't get a chance to mention that last week because we weren't on.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to honor Kenny, just watch episode 4, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, just play that, and then it is the beginning of a sad time when we start losing these guys.
Yeah.
You know, that's why we will both always just pledge to everybody, get the Celebration, and see these people. You know, unfortunately, you know, Harrison really hasn't made an appearance there, but Hamill and Fisher and George, Anthony Daniels, Peter Mayhew, these guys are there. Interacting with them. You never know when you're not going to be able to get your chance to meet these guys. Yeah. So I've got my picture with the Skywalker twins. Yeah. So I love that. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to say that. And, I don't know if you want for Casey.
Here's my R2 quote
for Casey.
For my R2 quote of the day. I've never done this before. I mean, I've done this quote before, but not on the show. So here's my R2 impression, guys. I got 2 quotes, so this is one of them. Hold on. I can't do it. Hold on. I got to whip my whistle a little bit.
Nice.
So that's one of them. He does that.
That's good.
Several times. He did one I think of as Empire Strikes Back, when Luke crashes into the...
Oh, yeah, into the moat. Yeah.
So it's almost like, are you okay?
Swamp,
you okay? And then there's the other one where he does that kind of thing. I can't do that one very well, but the whistling, I can do that one.
That's fine. Good. Yeah, the whistle's really good. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's too late to whistle.
No, that's...
thirsty.
So, yeah. So, thanks for listening, and thanks for hearing us out on Kenny's. And we'll be back next week for sure. Hopefully get you caught up in some more Star Wars news. But check us out at InsideTheForce.com and go to StarWars.com for all the latest Star Wars happenings. For Casey.
Goodbye, everybody.
I'm Dave, and to Kenny Baker, may the Force be with you always.
This has been a production of the 21 Network. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.